Hello folks and welcome. Today I have a Suzuki Jimny. Now I've been wanting to drive this car for quite some time, more so than any other car I have driven this year. Main reason is because it's cheap, it's small, it's quirky, and it is a baby G-Wagon. But rather than me doing a regular review, I've gone on my Instagram story and asked you guys, in case you don't follow me, at Sideways Sid on Instagram, ask you folks what you want to see in terms of a real world review. Hopefully some of those questions will be sensible, hopefully. But let's get straight to business and answer one of them. In fact, a friend of mine, Mr. Roger Chan, at Roger Chan, he's also known as R Chan Photography, has asked, can you actually go to the dealership and buy one? Well, let's go to a dealership and find out if you could buy one. In fact, let's go now. Let's go now. Right then, so I've just been into a Glyn Hopkin Suzuki Cambridge. I'm not allowed to film in there, however, they did say to me that this car has a waiting list of 18 months. 18 months for a Suzuki Jimny. Now this is a pretty simple car to build, but this car's got a lot of hype. Costs £18,500 and apparently some of them have been up for sale for 28 grand and people are buying these damn things. But to answer your question, Roger, no, you can't buy one. Right then, so we've got that question out of the way. It's time to move on to the next question. I999_JLD has asked, what's it like on the motorway? Does it feel unstable or wobbly? He's also asked actually quite a few very interesting questions. What size engine is it? How much power does it have? Is it enough power? How much does it weigh? What's the off-road ability like? We'll find that out, but let's start with the motorway side of things. Well, it's an interesting one, the Suzuki Jimny, because underneath the skin it's on a ladder chassis separated with a body. Now normally modern day cars have a monocoque, a shell basically, and that's how the car is put together. With this is very old school. It's very sort of, you know, last century tech, like 1920 style. So it's very similar to a Land Rover Defender, and on paper at least I was expecting it to drive a little bit like a Land Rover Defender, but funny enough it's not. It's actually quite pleasant in a way, but to be honest, modern day standards, it's far from that compared to any other SUV. But then there isn't an SUV quite like the Suzuki Jimny in my opinion. Anyway, under the bonnet we have a 1.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine. It's normally aspirated. It makes 95 horsepower. Hasn't got much torque, 90 foot-pounds, and it feels peppy. The car weighs just over 1,000 kilos. On the move, it's got a 5-speed manual gearbox. It's cool. It does the job. You know, you sort of sit as if you're in a Defender, but much more comfortable as if you're in a Defender. To be honest, way more comfortable than you are in a Defender. If I'm honest, I've got way more leg room for starters. I can see out of it very, very well, and it's very easy to drive, especially around town. 5-speed manual gearbox, slots into gears very well, clutch is light, accelerator's light. Kind of reminds me of the old Jimny in a way. just feels very, very normal. But you also hear a lot of agricultural sounds going on. You sort of hear the flywheel spinning away to sound a bit rough as you go above the higher revs, but we'll save that for the motorway, which I'll answer the second question on. Now, on the motorway in the Suzuki Jimny, well, to be honest, it's quite loud. You get to hear quite a lot of noises at the national speed limit, and it revs very, very high. It's not very efficient at motorway speeds. I mean, I'm doing 40 miles an hour now, and it's actually quite fine, but once you start dropping down the gear, get up in the revs, you know, you can hear the motor sounding quite rough. It's fine, it's comfortable, it'll do 70 miles an hour. Top speed's 90, but I can imagine that's quite terrifying at that speed. But having said that, to be honest, it's designed to go off-road. It's a light, nimble off-road car. But I could easily live with this. Is this a car that you can use day in, day out to go to work back and forth in? Yes, you can. So in that respect, it's actually fine. For what it is, it does the job quite perfectly. So that answers that question. J_Trask_ has asked, G-Wagon looks, but does it handle like one? I think what he means is, does it look like one, or does it handle like one? No, it doesn't handle like a G-Wagon. I know what he means by that, however, it's not quite so. It's a little bit more nimble and it's a little bit lighter. However, because it's got so much suspension travel, more so than a G-Wagon, having said I haven't driven an original G-Wagon, so I've only driven the G63s, which is a completely different case, but this seems to ride better and feel more nimbler than a G-Wagon. So on technicalities, no, but to the main punter, yeah. No, having said that, no, to the main punter, they will find this a lot easier to drive. It's not like your Defender and it's not like your G-Wagon. In fact, it's better than those two. To answer the question of whether it handles, well, put it this way. This is my steering and nothing happens. It likes to wander, the Suzuki Jimny, on motorways as well too. There's a lot of that going along, and if you're a hillbilly that likes to drive old Chevrolet Silverados, then this car would be quite something that you'd be used to. It's not what you call direct, however, it's all part of the fun. It is lols. It's the question you guys have been all asking for. Will the Suzuki Jimny drift? Only one way to find out. Right then, first gear. Second, turn in, give it a full. Oh right, okay. Yeah, it does drift. We have learnt that the Suzuki Jimny can do skids. We've got that out of the way, that's done and dusted. But there is one final question, and it's from James. Penalty shootout, ? With a football emoji. There you go! As you can see, the Suzuki Jimny can do techers. Hopefully that is everything you need to know of this car. I'll summarise my thoughts and opinions. I can understand why there's an 18-month waiting list.
Not that there's a 10 grand premium, I don't get that bit, but there's just something so cool about this car. Yeah, it's horrible to drive. Yeah, it's a little bit rough around the edges, but it's just a breath of fresh air unlike any other new car. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe as always. 3 videos a week, every week. Hopefully I'll stay this consistent. Probably not, because I've got a whole big field I'm going to do some skids, so I'm just going to that.